Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today I'm going to be going over how to approach girls without being creepy. This is a tough one, and it's honestly a question that I get from you guys almost every single day. And understandably, because I've seen some really awful videos on the internet telling you guys how to approach girls, and I could not think of anything worse on how to approach a girl. So I figured it was time for me, Pufia, to make my own video and just kind of give you guys a woman's perspective on this, because I think depending on what you do and how you do it, it can come across the wrong way, hence the trying not to be creepy factor. So today I'll be going over some examples for you, some things to do, some things not to do, and why. And just to be transparent here, I've had guys approach me in public and be incredibly successful. I've had guys approach me in public and not be successful at all. So I think I can offer a little bit of insight because I've had this happen to me and I know exactly why. You know, some things have worked out and others have not worked out. So stick with me here. So tip number one that I have is that you have to make it make sense. And what I mean by make it make sense, this is that you have to make it feel natural. It has to kind of have to do with what's going on around you, where you're at. You just really want it to come across as natural. And this is why I would not recommend just walking up to a girl and saying, "Hi, can I have your number?" First of all, she doesn't know you. Second of all, unless she finds you incredibly attractive right off the bat, she's not going to give it to you. And third of all, you've given her no contacts. You haven't made her feel comfortable. You haven't made her feel safe. You haven't started a conversation with her. So why are you just asking for her number? Right off the bat, you don't even know if you want to talk to her, and she's probably not going to want to give her number out to a stranger. So like I mentioned, the first thing you say to her should have something to do with what's going on or something that involves your environment. So just an example here, I was at the pool the other day. I was laying in a chair, and there was a girl laying in a chair next to me. And she was reading a book, and this guy came up to her and was kind of just chatting with her and started talking about the book she was reading. So he found something that was going on that they could easily talk about that would start the conversation and get it going. And their conversation just flowed from there. He left to go to his car. He was with his nephews. He was like babysitting or something. And he came back and handed her his number and was like, "I would love to take you out sometime. If you're interested, call me." It was perfect. So after he gave her his number and he walked away, the girl started talking to me about it, and she was like, "Wow, that was so refreshing." And then I told her that I have a YouTube channel all about this, and she was super into it. And I was like, I'm going to tell this as an example in one of my videos because it was so perfect. And she was telling me that she had went out downtown the night before and she was out at bars and stuff, and nobody approached her. Nobody said anything. So it's just nice when someone is bold and confident. So what was so perfect about the way he did it was that he got the conversation going. He made her feel comfortable. You know, he got to know her a little bit for a couple of minutes before he just asked for her number, and he didn't even ask her for her number. He gave her his number, which put the ball in her court. So he did everything he needed to do, and he did it perfectly. Absolutely right. I hope the guy somewhere out there is watching this video and knows that he did a great job because it was perfect. So some other tips I can give you guys here. Number one, you could ask for advice. So if you see her out somewhere, you could ask her where her favorite place to eat around here is, something that just gets the conversation going. Maybe then you could mention, "Are you new in the area? Blah, blah, blah." Keep the conversation going next. You could be funny if you're waiting in line somewhere like a coffee shop or a restaurant. You could say something like, "I'm having an internal crisis. Do I get the avocado toast or the eggs Benedict?" and just get the conversation going there. If she's in line, she's probably ordering something too, and you guys can kind of start talking about it, whatever it might be. Just really getting the conversation going in a way that feels comfortable, that feels natural, without you just going up to her and asking for her number. Because like I said, unless she finds you incredibly attractive, you're not going to get it. Number two, this is a huge tip for you guys. I see you guys make this mistake so much. Not necessarily you guys, but just guys in general. And that is keep it clean. The last thing a girl, keep it clean, wants is to be approached by someone that is being inappropriate. I'm sorry. In this day and age, you have to be so careful with your surroundings. Me, personally, if I go somewhere, I get in my car, I lock the door, I check my back seat. I'm very cautious when I'm out because I watch a lot of crime shows. I watch a lot of murder documentaries and all these different things that make me kind of freak out a little bit, which I probably should stop doing, but I know a lot of girls are in the same boat. So you need to make her feel safe. You need to make her feel comfortable. I know you could be the nicest guy in the world, but she might not know that. So don't be inappropriate. Don't be weird. Just play it cool, guys, and keep it clean, saying something sexual or inappropriate to someone you've never met can be really off-putting. Even if you maybe didn't necessarily mean it that way. I know sometimes we might think something in our head and mean it one way, but it comes out and someone takes it another way. So just something to consider here. You can give a compliment to someone without coming across as sexual. I think giving a compliment can be a great conversation starter, but try to make it not so physical or inappropriate or sexual in a way. For example, don't say something like, your butt looks so great in those jeans, or those jeans look great on. You say something instead about her style. In general, you could say something like, I love your leather jacket. I've been looking for one like that. Where did you get it? Something like that. That just gets the conversation going without it being creepy, like saying, your butt looks so good in those jeans, yikes. Giving a compliment about something that she's wearing is a really easy way to get the conversation going. But like I said, you really need to be careful here on how you give the compliment. That's why I think the tips I gave in number 1 are just a lot easier. But depending on the situation that you're in, it can be a little bit difficult. So complimenting something about her style, like her jacket or her shoes or something that you genuinely like and you ask questions about it, can really get the conversation going, especially if you're someone that likes style and fashion and all of that fun stuff. That would be probably the easiest way in the world for me to approach someone because I love fashion and all things related. So if that's something that you're into, then that would be a great place to start. And tip number 3 that I have for you guys is to be confident. Confidence is probably the most important thing in general. Be confident all the time, but especially when you're approaching a girl. Girls can really pick up on your confidence and your positivity when you approach them. And by approaching with confidence, it makes her feel more comfortable too. So just something to keep in mind. If you approach her with your hands in your pockets and you're not making eye contact and you're very timid and shy, she's going to feel that energy as well and probably kind of reciprocate that a little bit and maybe be a little bit standoffish. But if you approach her with confidence, with eye contact, and just really coming across like you bring everything to the table, then she's going to pick up on that as well. And you're going to have a lot more success than the contrary. So when you're approaching a girl, you're really going to want to pay attention to your body language. Body language is super important, and especially when you're meeting someone for the first time. So you're going to want to smile, stand up straight, make eye contact, and just really be friendly, warm, and inviting. And ultimately, that's going to make her feel more comfortable and let her walls down a little bit with you so that she can get to know you. And things can go from there. And number 4, the last tip I have for you guys is to read the room. The room. Okay, sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't. You could approach someone and think they're great, and you're great, and it might not work out. So don't get discouraged in whatever you do. If she says no, do not keep pursuing it. Do not be aggressive. Do not make her be happy that she said no to you. Okay, just be a gentleman, move on with grace, and take it as a loss or win. Because you still got practice if she's being really short with you. And you can tell that she doesn't really want to talk or she's not feeling it. Just move on. It's okay. You don't need to get aggressive. You don't need to get upset. Rejection happens to all of us. It's happened to me before, so I totally understand where you're coming from. So whatever you do, don't get butt hurt. don't get aggressive, and just move on with your life. And another thing is to be proud of yourself for getting out of your comfort zone. It can be really scary, especially if you don't do it a lot to approach people. I'm someone who is an introvert. I'm typically kind of shy when I'm in public. So for me to approach someone would be a really big deal. And if I did it, even if I got rejected, I would still feel proud of myself for doing it. So regardless of the outcome, it's just really good for getting yourself out of your comfort zone, and it's good practice. So like I said, if you feel like she doesn't want to talk to you, it's all right. This is going to happen. Some girls don't like to be approached. Other girls are flattered to be approached. So it really does depend on the girl as well. And if she's attracted to you, I think I've mentioned it a million times before, but physical attraction is important for that initial attraction stage, especially when you're making a first impression or all you know about someone is what they look like. So keep this in mind. This is why it's important to put your best foot forward and to make a good first impression. And I wanted to give you guys a good example and a bad example of guys that have approached me, just to give you guys a little bit of insight in this as well. So the good time that someone approached me, I was at the gym, I was on the treadmill, and this guy was leaving. We had made a little bit of eye contact. I had seen him at the gym before. We had smiled at each other, whatever. I mean, we were kind of flirting back and forth at the gym. So he definitely read the room. There, he could tell that I was giving him body language back that was signaling that I was interested. So I was on the treadmill. He was leaving the gym. And before he walked out, he came up to my treadmill and he said, "I'm so sorry to interrupt your workout, but I cannot leave this gym without knowing your name." And he just got the conversation going there. We talked about being a member at the gym. We talked about what we were doing in life currently. He was just very good at asking questions and making me feel comfortable and talking to me. And it ended up being really great. So I liked that. Instead of just asking for my number, right off the bat, he asked me for my name and got to know me and made me feel comfortable before he asked me for my number. So just something to keep in mind there, literally asking anything before asking for their number, I think is a really great place to start. So going on to the bad example that happened to me, I was a waitress when I was in college and I was at work, and this guy came in with his parents and in front of his parents, like, told me how beautiful I was and asked me for my number while I was working. And I really appreciated the fact that he was bold and very upfront and honest, but also it made me feel kind of awkward because, number one, I was at work, so I wasn't really allowed to interact that way. And number two, he was in front of his parents, which was just very odd to me. So that one would have been better if he would have waited until they were leaving and his parents had walked out and he came back and asked me. But even then I was at work and it just wasn't the right place. This is why I did a video all about how to tell if she's just being nice. And typically if someone is working and they're being friendly with you, it's not necessarily because they're into you or they like you. They're really just being nice because it's their job. So I had a boyfriend at the time too, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway, really. But it's just awkward when you ask, like in front of other people like that, or while the girl is working. It can just make them feel kind of uncomfortable. So I just wanted to give you guys an example of one that was successful and one that was not successful and why. So I hope that you all found this helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys on there as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you've had success approaching girls in public, what's worked for you, and what hasn't. I think that would really help other guys out, as well as always. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.